It's one of the most legendary rivalries in corporate history. Almost everyone has an allegiance to either Coke or Pepsi. But which soda dominates the market? And which surprising companies do these beverage empires own? Today we're looking at the classic clash of the titans, Coke vs Pepsi. PepsiCo and Coca-Cola are by far the two biggest non-alcoholic beverage manufacturers on the planet. Over the past few decades, they have gobbled up hundreds of smaller companies, and neither one is showing any signs of slowing down. But regardless of your preference, Pepsi is the clear winner when it comes to revenues. PepsiCo reported $64.7 billion in revenues for 2018, while Coca-Cola's revenues were less than half of that at $31.9 billion. However, the difference was not always as obvious. Between 2016 and 2018, PepsiCo's revenue has grown from $62.8 billion to $64.7 billion, a growth of 3%. In comparison, Coca-Cola's revenue has decreased from $41.9 billion to $31.9 billion, a decline of 24%. The vast difference in growth rates is due to Coca-Cola refranchising its bottling plants, which has led to a steady decline in revenues, which was exacerbated by decreasing demand for carbonated drinks. On the contrary, PepsiCo benefited from growth in its food and snacks portfolio and its acquisition of SodaStream. But revenues are not the full story. Pepsi has a total of $190 billion valuation, closing in on Coke's $212 billion market value. And many people believe that the lockdown is affecting these numbers. Coke has been underperforming Pepsi since the pandemic occurred in March. This performance divide has been widening throughout the year, and it appears that this course is poised to continue. The main issue is that Pepsi has been diversifying its holdings for years, whereas Coke still makes the vast majority of its profit from carbonated drinks. As consumers move away from soda and unhealthy beverages, PepsiCo has been filling the gap with healthier snacks. That has made all the difference in recent years, and Coca-Cola is struggling to catch up. The list of brands owned by Pepsi is seemingly endless. They own Aquafina, Cheetos, Aunt Jemima, Cap'n Crunch, Mountain Dew, Doritos, Fritos, Gatorade, Izzy, Life Water, Quaker, Rice-A-Roni, Sierra Mist, Sobe, Sun Chips, Tropicana, Tostitos, Mug Root Beer, and hundreds of other labels both large and small. However, Coke owns its fair share of brands as well. The company is responsible for Bacardi, Costa Coffee, Dannon, Dasani, Sprite, Dunkin' Donuts, Fanta, Fresca, Fuse Tea, Honest Tea, Minute Maid, Odwalla, Seagrams, Schweppes, Tab, and Vitamin Water, among numerous other brands. In fact, Coke makes so many different beverages that if you drank one per day, it would take you over 9 years to try them all. If every drop of Coke ever produced was put in an 8-ounce bottle and laid end-to-end, they would reach the moon and back over 2,000 times. Coca-Cola has a product portfolio of more than 3,500 beverages and 500 brands, spanning from sodas to energy drinks to soy-based drinks. During lockdown, people stocked up on snacks rather than sugary drinks, and PepsiCo reaped the benefits. In addition, more than 50% of Coke's revenue comes from out-of-house locations, like bars and restaurants, which were closed during lockdown. According to Pepsi's vice president, you saw a lot of stocking up on water and Gatorade and things like that. But there's real consumption changes, in particular in two areas. Number one is breakfast at home. People are eating more pancakes than those products. Second, people are working from home and they're tending to graze more during the day. So we have seen a real increase in snacking. As a result, the demand is sustaining. The beverage business is more challenging in that regard, as the away-from-home channels have either shut down or are quite limited. First, the food and snack brands give Pepsi a ballast against health concerns and other headwinds around soda. Soda sales in the US peaked in 2004 and have been on the decline in Europe and other markets in recent years. Diet soda in particular has been hit hard by concerns about artificial sweeteners like aspartame, and consumers have switched to alternatives like bottled water, coffee, seltzer, and coconut water, among other options. With less exposure to soda than Coke, Pepsi has weathered these challenges better than its chief competitor. Pepsi's beverages are also more weighted to non-soda categories, with brands like Tropicana and Gatorade. Second, Pepsi has less exposure to restaurants, where beverages were already at risk due to the rise of takeout and delivery apps like Grubhub. Consumers are less likely to order a drink with a takeout or delivery order than they are when they dine in, and during the pandemic, dine-in restaurant service has been decimated. Both companies have struggled to grow in recent years because they have reached total market saturation. The stock market is based on a model wherein companies must grow in order to appear successful. Soda seems to have permeated every corner of the earth at this point, and the public's thirst for these unhealthy drinks is waning. So exactly how much of these rival beverages is consumed every day? Not even counting their other brands, there are an estimated 1.7 billion servings of Coke consumed every day. That means that more than 3% of beverages consumed daily are Coke. Soda is the main source of calories in American diets, with the average American consuming more than 10 pounds of sugar from soda alone every year. Pepsi lags far behind this number, with consumers drinking fewer than 500,000 servings each day. So when it comes to the competition between which drink is more enjoyable, Coke seems to be the clear winner. Although Pepsi is doing better in the short term, it would be wrong to totally discount Coke. Coca-Cola's $35.1 billion in revenue makes it the 84th largest economy in the world, just ahead of Costa Rica. The Coca-Cola brand is worth an estimated $74 billion, more than Budweiser, Pepsi, Starbucks, and Red Bull combined. And although Coca-Cola revenue was 38% less than PepsiCo's last year, Coke generated more in soft drink revenue, around $28 billion versus $12 billion. Both companies know that they are not likely to win new customers without aggressive marketing. Coke spent $3 billion in 2019 alone, whereas Pepsi spent $2.3 billion. It appears to be paying off. The red and white Coca-Cola logo is recognized by 94% of the world's population. Coca-Cola has also reported that its name is the second most understood term in the world, behind OK. Coca-Cola spends more money on advertising than Microsoft and Apple combined. And the two companies seem to be getting desperate. In 2018, Coke announced new Diet Coke flavors and a sleek new can. The campaign was aimed at a younger crowd. The new flavors, like ginger lime and zesty blood orange, call to mind different variations of trendy LaCroix seltzers. Millennials are now thirstier than ever for adventures and new experiences, and we want to be right by their side, Rafael Acevedo, the group director for Diet Coke in North America, said in a statement about the new look and flavors. We're making the brand more relatable and more authentic. Coca-Cola spent 2 years on the relaunch. We would love to at least stop declining, if not get into growth, CEO James Quincy told analysts last week. I'm not sure just the flavors and the packages will get us there, but it's certainly going to be a good step in the right direction. Pepsi tried to appeal to young customers in 2017 with a poorly received commercial featuring Kendall Jenner offering a soda to a police officer on a protest line. After a backlash, the company apologized and pulled the ad. Besides being a waste of money, the botched commercial may have inspired Pepsi to play it safe with the New Generations campaign, said Laurent Grandet, a beverage analyst with Credit Suisse who previously worked for PepsiCo. Many people are pressuring Pepsi and Coke to modernize and make their packaging easier to recycle or compost. Coke uses 300,000 tons of aluminum for its cans every year just for its US operations. That's equal to 17.4% of what the entire US aluminum industry produces. The majority of these cans will end up in landfills, wasting both money and valuable resources and spewing carbon into the atmosphere. But what is the history of these cola wars? The saga began in 1886, when John S. Pemberton developed the original recipe for Coke. The urban legend is true. Pemberton did use a coca leaf extract, which is derived from the coca plant. This is the same plant that can be processed into cocaine. Its early advertising claimed that the cola cured headaches and gave the consumer a slight buzz. It was described as a brain and nerve tonic. Pepsi arrived 7 years later in 1893. Its recipe contained a digestive enzyme called pepsin and cola nuts. Early Pepsi ads claimed that it cured indigestion and was healthful. Coca-Cola was already selling 1 million gallons per year by the time Pepsi came to be. In the early 1900s, when alcoholism started to emerge as a serious problem in the US, and various social groups began demanding a ban on alcoholic beverages, Coca-Cola decided to side with the anti-alcohol lobby. Consequently, in 1903, Coca-Cola removed cocaine from its formula, substituting it with caffeine. It then positioned itself as the great national temperance beverage. The actual war between Coke and Pepsi started from the year 1901, when Pepsi started to hit massive sales and Coke sales started to tank. Coke developed its iconic contour bottle, got big name endorsements, and expanded to Europe. Meanwhile, Pepsi went bankrupt because of World War I. During World War II, Coke set up a bottling and manufacturing plant in Germany, which at the time was under Nazi rule. Coke's other drink Fanta was formulated there. In 1947, Pepsi broke the taboo of directly addressing and showing Black Americans in its ads. Decades before Black Lives Matter, Pepsi named African Americans in top jobs, making PepsiCo the first big American firm to do so, staring down racists, including the Ku Klux Klan, which organized a boycott. Fast forward to 1975, when Pepsi launched what has become the definitive taste test, the Pepsi Challenge. The tests, which took place at malls and shopping centers, saw a Pepsi representative ask members of the public to blind taste two cola drinks, one Pepsi, the other Coke. Invariably, the result in the commercials was that most consumers preferred the taste of Pepsi. The Pepsi Challenge has been featured prominently in much of Pepsi's TV advertising. Coke later decided to play Pepsi at its own game, when in 2009 it ran a promotion reminiscent of the Pepsi Challenge, trying to persuade consumers that its Volt drink tastes better than its rival's Mountain Dew. Many people credit the true beginning of the cola wars to Donald Kendall, PepsiCo's legendary former boss. A gifted salesman, he rose quickly through the ranks from his start on the bottling line to become the firm's top sales and marketing executive at the tender age of 35. 7 years later, he was named CEO. In 1974, he injected a dose of fizzy capitalism into the Soviet Union, which allowed Pepsi to become the first Western product to be legally sold behind the Iron Curtain. By the time he stepped down as boss in 1986, PepsiCo's sales had shot up nearly 40-fold to $7.6 billion. His legacy continues to shape the industry. In the end, it all comes down to personal preference. Only you can answer the question: Coke or Pepsi?